be alert. Government of India is also quite alert. Therefore, just like Rapid Action Force, Computer Emergency Response Team in India (CERT-IN) is also established by the Government of India for cyber security and forecasting cyber threats in India. For this, I don't know, you know or not, Rapid Action Force is there. Whenever any type of violence, illegal activity, or major type of mishappening takes place, law and order situation gets disturbed, then a special team of police is there that is called Rapid Action Force, which is trained like that only to handle those types of situations. So that Rapid Action Force takes charge. You might have seen somewhere in cities the vehicles on which Rapid Action Force is written. Similarly, for cyber attacks, to counter cyber attacks, Government of India has formed an agency that is called Computer Emergency Response Team, just like Rapid Action Force. In short, it is called CERT-IN. And this was established, and you will be surprised to know that CERT-IN had issued an alert in September 2017 about ransomware. Ransomware virus had become very, that means, famous at that time, and a large group of people, industries, organizations were affected by ransomware in entire world in the year 2017. You might recall it, ransomware virus. So ransomware is a malicious program which locks the computer, and lock means to block access to computer system. You cannot access your own computer until some amount is paid in form of what is called Bitcoin. So this ransomware wire, this attack was also forecasted by CERT-IN. So see the that means the effectivity of this CERT-IN, that those the CERT-IN had already issued a warning that some sort of this type of attack may take place, and that happened also. So I was talking about the ransomware in which some amount of money is demanded as ransom, firoti, that is in form of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, what is, let us see something about Bitcoin also. Bitcoin is digital or cryptocurrency, which is not owned by a government. That is not owned by a government. Generally, currency is owned by a government. Any type of currency is based on some asset, but cryptocurrency is based on virtual asset. Virtual asset, not physical asset. Share is also something similar. Share, stock exchange. Share is also something similar, but it is not on virtual basis. But in Bitcoin, there is no definite rule and regulation. Rules are not defined in Bitcoin. Therefore, anytime it may collapse also, and risk and rise both are very high in Bitcoin. There may be very high rise also, but risk is also involved to a very high degree. Bitcoin is made possible by blockchain technology is there, blockchain technology, which is used in Bitcoin, blockchain technology. So blockchain technology uses private key cryptography. I don't know you know private key cryptography or not. Cryptography means coding something, and private key means coding with the private key. And I'm not going into much detail of private key cryptography here. And hash function. There is a chain of blocks. Each block contains information, time stamp, and a link to previous block. Blockchain is a distributed database existing on multiple computers. Distributed database is there, which is installed on different computers in the world. Not on one a database is not on one computer, it is on various computers. That is called distributed database. A single computer can be hacked, but not the multiple computers. This is the idea behind blockchain technology. A single computer at some point of time may be hacked, but all the computers in distributed database, possibility is very little that all will be together hacked. And in blockchain technology, without our knowledge, our resources are used by somebody else. So this is about Bitcoin blockchain technology and ransomware uh, virus, which had taken place in the year 2017, and CERT-In had issued a warning of ransomware. And CERT-In is established by Government of India to counter cyber attacks in India. Now proceeding ahead, king of spying. Spying you means detective. America is supposed to be a king of spying. Edward Snowden is an ex-employee of CIA. CIA might have, this is the intelligence company of America, the way in which RAW is in India. Edward Snowden is an ex-employee of CIA, and he had revealed that America sniffies the data of entire world. Sniffies means just like sniffer dog, sniffies the data of entire world. That means America tries to find information in whatever manner it is possible of entire world. You might have seen the movie Parmanu, which was about nuclear test in Pokhran. Just the movie, just few months, 1 year back, it had come in Raipur. Also, I have seen that movie. You might have also seen. That was based on the nuclear test conducted by India in Pokhran in the year 1998, May 1998. So it is worth noting that our ex-Prime Minister Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao also wanted to perform nuclear test. This nuclear test of Pokhran was conducted during the regime of Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. Before BJP government, there was a regime of Congress government, and P.V. Narasimha Rao ji was the Prime Minister of India. So he was also very keen to conduct nuclear test, but somehow America could come to know and manage to pressurize India not to conduct this test. This is all shown in the movie also. Later on, in May 1998, India could ultimately conduct nuclear test. It is said that during handing over the charge of PMO, Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao had said to Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji that we could not conduct this test. Now we have to conduct this test. Unofficially, this news had come that P.V. Narasimha Rao ji had told Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji that because of the pressure from America, they could not conduct this test. So please continue with this test. So ultimately, that was materialized in May 1998. So maximum number of servers are located in America. Therefore, America can always watch the activity over the internet. Therefore, various countries like Russia, China, etc. prefer to use their own servers. Maximum servers are in America only. That means Suppose you are sending some email to your friend who is in neighbor to you, then also information will go through the server, Google or Gmail server, and Gmail server is where? It is in America. So that means all the informations are passing through America only in entire world. Therefore, various countries like Russia, China, etc., prefer to use their own servers, which are located in their own countries. In India also, government agencies also prefer to use institutional email ID rather than Gmail, Rediffmail, etc. because servers of Gmail, Rediffmail, etc. are situated in America. Suppose some important mail is being sent by one officer or maybe from one army man to another in Gmail. What will happen? That mail will go first to in Gmail server where in America, and then it will return again back in India and will go to the that particular gentleman. So it is always possible for America to what is coming on their Gmail server. That is why government agencies in India also prefer to use their own mail servers. And you might have seen in institutional email ID. For here also, I have my that means separate email ID apart from my Rediff mail ID. So in big institutions, there is separate mail ID, which is called institutional email ID. That means servers is there only in within that institution. Search engines. Even search engines are also not safe. Google is a search engine, and Google is China, Iran, and in some more countries. Nowadays, without Google, we can, that means it is very difficult to remain without Google. This has become the tendency nowadays. In very small things, we take help of Google. But Google is also, Google server is where it is also in America. And China and various other countries have banned Google in their countries and have brought a replacement of Google. For example, China makes use of Baidu, not Google, in place of Google. Russia makes use of Yandex. Iran makes use of Use. North Korea makes use of Naver. Ukraine, Colossus. These are the search engines which are used in these countries in place of Google. Some of other replacements in China are, China is also very alert. China does not want to make use of servers which are in USA. So in place of Google, Baidu, Sogu is there. In place of YouTube, Youku, Todo, etc. are used in China. Google Maps, in place of Google Maps, Jodo Maps, and WhatsApp, WeChat is used in China. If we talk about North Korea, so internet is available in North Korea to common people with only limited access. In North Korea, general people like we people, internet facility is not there. Then how are they working? So internet is mostly used by government and foreigners in North Korea. Online services to common people, how they are using online services without internet. So for that type of service, people is provided by separate free domestic network known as Kwanggaung. There is a internal intranet which is used for online services in North Korea. However, in America, free internet is available since the time of ARPANET. Some countries are very flexible, some are very strict and rigid that we will not make use of American servers. America itself, why to bother? For American people, there is no problem like that. They are in America, server is also in America. So web browsers may save your sensitive information for future use, like assessing market trend, giving you the advertisement of your interest, and even for hacking purpose. Browser may sell the data also. Browser, for example, Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, Internet Explorer. You are accessing internet through your browsers only. But sometimes these browsers may keep track of what you are doing in internet, may store some information of their interest. Even they may sell also those information to other companies. For what purpose they will sell? Just for advertisement. That means now whatever you are seeing surfing regularly, so a trend will become known to a company, and then accordingly advertisement of your interest will come to you. So for finding the market trend, generally for business purpose, browsers also save your information. Not only save, sell also those information to the companies. Keep your web browsers update, because browser may also be a source of attack. We should also keep our browsers update, just like operating system. Browser is also a source of attack. Add browser JS Guard with Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. It detects malicious and suspicious web pages and gives an alert to the users. JS Guard is very good and useful, and you can install this in Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome, and this will save you from few attacks. UC web browser, UC web browser is also not safe. UC web browser is of China, and government of India has warned about UC web browser. So in this way, browsers are also not safe. They may take your information, give your information to others, and therefore we should keep our browsers update. Cookie notification and pop-up. Let us see something about these things. Cookie is a small piece of data stored on the client machine, which servers use while communicating with clients. A small piece of data which is stored on client. You are client. You are using browser. You are client. There is two things: client and server. So request is made by client, answer is given by server. You are client, and some special data, a small piece of data, will become a part of your system, that is called cookie. This may be used for giving advertisement. Cookies are generally not harmful. They are for giving you some advertisement. Cookies are not much harmful, but consume some storage unnecessarily. It takes space in your hard disk. Time to time, we should delete cookies. Otherwise, sometimes all websites may fail to open. Cookies are small programs, take little space, but with passage of time, it may happen that a large number of cookies have become a part of your memory system. Your RAM memory, hard disk memory is unnecessarily getting occupied. So you should remove cookie. Otherwise, some websites may fail to open. Notifications are the messages in form of sound, etc. You might have seen that in WhatsApp, or when a message comes in your mobile, a small sound comes. So that is called notification. Notifications are also not much harmful, but consume little bandwidth. But your computer or mobile has to do a little work in receiving those notifications, and unnecessarily it occupies certain bandwidth also, very small network or network bandwidth it consumes. Through pop-up suddenly and anyway, notification, it is up to you to make use of notification or not. Notification is not much harmful. Through pop-up suddenly an advertisement may start coming in a small window. You are doing something, some important thing, and all of a sudden a new pop-up comes. You get disturbed unnecessarily. Sometimes a new tab gets opened in browser, a new tab opens, anything can be done. Through pop-up, virus may also come. You are getting disturbed, you are doing with concentration one thing, all of a sudden a new screen comes. That is called pop-up. Unnecessary, you are getting disturbed, and some virus may also come through pop-ups. So we should block pop-up compulsorily. We should always block pop-up. Notifications and cookies you may block or not block. That is not much harmful, but pop-ups are harmful. Although few websites may not open, when you actually you allow especially notification, cookie and pop-up while installing a particular code, is software on your mobile or laptop. You go on ticking and ticking, yes, 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 and in this process you give permission. So you don't give permission to pop-up. But what will happen? Certain softwares may fail to install. A message will come to allow cookie, etc. Some website, suppose you are opening, you have blocked the cookie and you are trying to open some website, a message will come. Your cookie or pop-up is blocked, this website cannot open. So that at that time also you may feel certain difficulty in opening certain websites. But for safety purpose, even then, that is good. You may temporarily on that the cookie or pop-up for allowing that website, and then again you may close it. For turning these off in Chrome, etc. browser, select three dots. How to turn off cookie notification pop-ups? So in Chrome, there are three dots on top right corner, and you tap on those three dots. You can see it in your mobile also. There are three dots, and select setting and select site setting, then block cookie notification and pop-ups. There is a command for blocking these things, so you may block it. Although you may experience certain difficulty also while opening certain websites. Coming on next topic, surveillance. Surveillance is a necessity of today because of growing menace of terrorism. Surveillance has become even more important. Surveillance means to see, and surveillance is a necessity of today's. And because of the menace of terrorism, surveillance has become even more important. You might have seen with hidden camera, CCTV camera, footages are used coming on the squares, on the roads, in the building, etc. That is all called surveillance, and various criminals are being caught because of the surveillance also. Earlier, for surveillance, there were used to be private private detectives, but nowadays there are intelligence companies. This has also become a profession. Professional people are there who may act your detective. Suppose you want to find certain information confidentially for your use. So you may pay and you may hire private detective for fetching those information. In India, there are at least 12 intelligence companies, detective companies, which are private, which may be hired privately also, and multinational also. These are multinational companies. In India, Central Monitoring System is also one company alone can perform surveillance of 90 crore people. This much big country, big companies there. Our raw research and analysis wing, CIA, these are all intelligence companies. There are various private companies also. So CMS is one like that, and it can make surveillance of 90 crore people. So after surveillance, let us move to next topic, that is right of privacy. But the challenge is to protect the privacy, right of privacy, because Supreme Court of India has also accepted the right of privacy as one of the fundamental rights. Right of privacy is there. You can say that on one hand you are talking about surveillance. That means what you are doing, that is being watched by somebody else without your knowledge, information. So this is an act of violation of your privacy also. And Supreme Court of India permits you to for making the privacy of your business, your work, yourself. So at present, there is urgent need to frame even more specific rules and regulations at national and international level. So at one end, I'm talking that surveillance is also important. On on another hand, Supreme Court is saying that means you should that privacy should not be disturbed of anybody. Then how to make balance? So that is why I'm saying that there is a need to frame even better rules, more rules and regulations at national and as well as at international level also. How to make a balance between surveillance and privacy. Bugging. Nowadays, small cameras of the size of a button of a shirt have come up, which can record good quality videos. Nowadays, in offices, boss and employee can also use these spy devices. Button size camera has also come up, which may record certain things. And it is happening also that bosses or employees are recording the things nowadays. This technique is known as bugging. Bug means very small camera or microphone which can be hidden at any place. Very small camera which is hidden in some place and is not visible. Nowadays, various small spy cameras like pen camera, button camera, spectacle camera, digital watch camera have come up. Those small cameras may be attached in the spectacle, in your pen, in your shirt, etc. Most of these devices are coming from China and are easily available in hardly within 1000 rupees. In 1000 rupees, you may get one spy camera and you may install it in your button. This is the figure of one spy camera. So now coming on security topics. So theoretically, we used to teach there are four necessary parameters for information security. One is called confidentiality, second is called integrity, third is authentication, fourth is non-repudiation. Confidentiality means encryption is done. I had also already talked about encryption, private key encryption. Encryption means coding. Coding is done. That means when you are sending a message to your friend, then that message should be coded so that other cannot understand even if it is trapped by somebody. Integrity. Message should not change on fly. Suppose you are sending some message to your friend, for example, 1000. While reaching to that receiver, it should not become 100 by mistake or by any reason. What in whatever message you are sending, this exactly the same message should be received without any change. That is called integrity. This is also the concept of information security, confidentiality, integrity. How integrity is achieved? Hash function is applied at sender and receiver end. Same value should come, and example is checksum Trojan page 967. So how you can verify, how your friend will verify that whatever message he is receiving, that is the original message as it was sent by your friend or not, sender or not. So that is called a mathematical function, hash function, which is applied at both the ends, at sender and the receiver end, and value should be same. And checksum is one important example of this hash function. For more detail, you may refer to the book of Frozen, and other books also you may refer. I am not going into much detail of this. Ultimately, we want to bring in integrity. That means message should not change on fly. Authentication and digital signature is used. Digital signature is achieved through public and private keys. Digital signature, just like your signature on pen, with pen and paper, digital signature is there to authenticate a person. Signature is used for authenticating where he is the original person or not, because it is supposed that signature is original one for one person only. So similarly, digital signature is there, and that can be used. Digital signature is based on public and private key in order to achieve authentication. Non-repudiation. Sender and receiver both cannot deny to have sent. Suppose you are telling your shopkeeper to send any material, then your shopkeeper should not say that you have not said that thing. Neither your shopkeeper can deny nor you can deny to have sent, nor shopkeeper can deny to have received. Sender receiver both cannot deny, neither sender can deny nor receiver can deny. For non-repudiation, time stamping is done. That means time will also be recorded when you had sent and when he has received. Time stamping means time when data was sent and time when data was received. This was given in CSI Communication, May 2014, page 34. So these are the four theoretical important concepts of achieving security: confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation. Now I will talk about certain types of attacks, threats, and their preventions. So computer virus. So computer virus, a program which becomes memory resident when the executable file is executed by user and attaches with other executable file. A program which becomes memory resident and when the executable file is executed by user and attaches with other executable files. On computer, there are executable files which you execute. virus may come with executable files. Virus is a small computer program which may become a part of executable file and gets installed on your computer when you open and execute that executable file, and subsequently that may infect other files, other executable files. This in Of course, if it is attaching some code is attaching in executable file, then size of that executable file will increase, and you can detect by size, but that is not easy task because you don't remember the previous size of the file. Then how you will come to know that few bytes are increased in that? This increase this increases size of executable file. Therefore, virus can be detected by observing the size on of executable file and the last date of creation of that file. You know that whenever you modify a file, date and time of that modification also is stored. That is called time stamping. So whenever some virus is infected on a particular file, date and time of that modification is also stored. So by that also you can track. But again, I'm saying that is not a easy task. But sometimes virus program fits into the empty gap in executable file. Then size of executable file does not change. If some code I said earlier, if virus is a program and it attaches with executable file, and therefore size of executable file increases. Sometimes size of file also does not increase. Why? There are certain blocks, holes in files, and very small holes are there in file, and virus program fits into those holes, empty gaps, and therefore even size also does not increase, and therefore even very expert people will also not come to know that size is changed and therefore virus attack is there. Boot sector virus is a program which becomes memory resident when the system is booted. Boot sector is a memory resident. Memory resident means which is permanently resident on memory till the time your computer is on. So boot sector virus. Earlier I talked about file virus. This is boot sector virus, which remains in your that means memory permanently. Nowadays, emails are the biggest sources of virus. As soon as we open or execute an infected attachment, virus may soon spread up. Emails are nowadays the biggest source of virus attacks. As soon as we open any email, virus may come in our system. What are the precautions? So, precautions are install antivirus malware software, keep your antivirus software up to date. You install antivirus and good antivirus. Run regularly schedule scans. You have installed, but you are not running the scanning, you are not scanning regularly. Then what is the use of installing antivirus? So make use of antivirus program also frequently to regularly scan your disks. Keep your operating system current. Secure your network. Think before click. I will talk about think before click afterwards also. Avoid piracy. Use licensed software. Better is to purchase computers with preloaded licensed software. People generally, it is a habit and practice that people do not make use of licensed software. In India, it is a very that means usual type of fashion that people do not make use of licensed type of licensed software. So nowadays, computers, laptops are coming with preloaded operating systems. I advise you to purchase computer laptop with preloaded operating system, in which operating system is already loaded It may increase your price by 3-4 thousand. That also I am telling, but even then that is good and better. Make use of licensed software, and particularly offices, they should definitely make use of preloaded. They should purchase preloaded soft laptops, computers, etc. Worm is another type of attack. Earlier, virus used to be type of only threat, but nowadays worm is also there. Worm is a malicious computer program which duplicates itself. Worm is self-replicate propagating. It makes multiple copies of itself and soon occupies entire disk space. It makes computer slow. It consumes a lot of bandwidth also in the network. Earlier, virus was only type of attack which was using to be there. Nowadays, worms have also become very popular type of attacks, and worm is what worm becomes propagating, makes its multiple copies, and soon it entire disk space. It fills your disk space and makes the computer very slow. You might have experienced in your computer also. Sometimes it is becoming very slow. This worm consumes a lot of bandwidth also. Worm is also interpreted as a computer program which uses a computer network to send its copy. It does so without the information of the user. So we should not open the attachments of unexpected emails. Again, the same prevention technique. Unwanted, unknown email attachments you should not open. It is just a habit that you are sitting in the computer on the computer in the browser and go on clicking and clicking and clicking your mouse. I have said earlier, think before click. And in that process, you may open unwanted, dangerous types of attachments which are very dangerous and are the sources of virus and worms. Keylogging. Every keystroke struck on a keyboard is recorded in an encrypted log file. Whatever you are pressing on your keyboard, that is stored somewhere in a log file, encrypted log file. Thus, a hacker may come to know the username and password also. Suppose you are typing PIN or password. Whatever you are typing, that is getting stored somewhere without your knowledge. That is called keylogging. Periodic screenshots can also be taken in some advanced keyloggers. Some advanced keyloggers are there in which screenshots may also be taken periodically. There are various keylogging programs which are freely available. Various keylogging softwares are freely available. You can download it easily. Small hardware devices for keylogging are also available. These small hardware devices may be attached with the computers in cyber cafe. In cyber cafe, in the computer, without your knowledge, some keylogger hardware device may also be attached. Keylogger comes in form of hardware, software, both. So that is why we should not make money transactions, particularly in cyber cafe. If you are working very sensitive type of information or making money transactions, then in cyber cafe you should not do that because there may be some hidden keylogger. Optical keylogger can track the password of a customer even in ATM machine. In ATM machine, you are going to withdraw some amount, and what is happening there? There is a camera or some keylogger. Whatever pin you are pressing on the keyboard of ATM machine, that is stored without your knowledge. With keylogger, we can come to know that other user has done on our what the other user has done on the computer. So this type of screen comes, and you can avoid this keylogger danger by making use of virtual keyboard. Virtual keyboard. Even in internet banking of SBI also, it comes further. Keyboard also keeps on changing. What is virtual keyboard? You should make use of virtual keyboard to avoid the threat of keylogger. When you open State Bank internet banking portal online SBI.com, then I have taken a screenshot from there only. This type of screen comes, and option is asked by the portal online virtual keyboard. Generally, we do not select it, but welcome to personal internet banking, and this type of screen comes. If you click on virtual keyboard, this type of screen will come, and this keyboard also keeps on changing. So this is very secured. Advantage is whatever you are pressing on this virtual keyboard, that cannot be stored by keylogger. So don't make money transactions in cyber cafe, and secondly, you make use of this virtual keyboard. One more type of threat is called SQL injection. Due to poor filter in badly written SQL statement in the database of a website, an intruder can enter the internet. SQL means structured query language, and sometimes websites are made, but not the rules, safety precautions are not followed properly, and badly written SQL statements are there, which are like this. And by taking the advantage of those badly written, poorly written statements, some attacker can intrude. So adopt a correct coding practice. That means it is the duty of programmer to adopt a correct coding practice in order to avoid the threats like SQL injection. Nowadays, various agencies are there which are certified by CERTIN. I had talked earlier about CERTIN. They certify this security, they make this security audit of website. Your website is secured or not. In that, all these small things will be checked, where SQL statement is written securely or not, etc. So incorrectly it is like this, and correctly it is like this. Select from here. One more of attack is Trojan horse. Trojan horse. These are malicious computer programs, and some extra software is added into the existing program from the outside world, just like virus worm also. There is Trojan horse. Some extra code, piece of code is added into the existing program, and firstly they appear to be friendly, but they steal information like credit card number, etc., from local computer. The Trojan horse is also a dangerous program, which is a small piece of program or code, and that gets attached with your original computer program, and that may steal your information, sensitive information like debit, credit card number, etc., from your local computers. One example of Trojan horse I can cite is late Prime Minister Sri Rajiv Gandhi was given a bouquet in which there was a time bomb. What had happened at that time? During election rally, Rajiv Gandhi ji was giving lecture. Somebody came there, and there was a time bomb in the garland. And as soon as uh, ex-Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi ji received that garland, there was a big explosion, and many people died on the spot. So that means that was appearing to be friendly, but it is dangerous. This is Trojan horse. So update the system patch files regularly, which are released by the operating system time to time. Keep your software and your operating system, MS Office, etc., up to date, as it prevents the entry of backdoor bugs also. Keep on cleaning, keep on updating with patch files which are coming, so that it will counter the newly coming threats also. It will be able to counter the newly coming threats also. Secondly, do not execute a program unless you are sure that it is from a known or trusted source. It is not a good practice to go on opening each and every attachment, email. You are sitting idle without work and just you are clicking and clicking on unknown type of emails, attachments, etc. So only known and trusted sources, websites, etc., you should open. Phishing is also another type of attack. Phishing is the attempt to obtain sensitive information such as username, password, credit card details, etc. Just like phishing, in which fishes are caught. Similarly, here also, your sensitive information, username, password, etc., are caught by, are taken, or are stolen by some other people. Phishing email contains malicious link, that is the address of some other website, which asks the user to update personal information such as password, debit, credit card, PAN number, Aadhaar number, etc. Some anonymous type of link will come on your screen and will tell you to click on that particular link, malicious link, and then it will ask some debit, credit card number, etc. And you will also give those informations, and in this way you will become a victim of that trap. So this is called phishing. Phishing means जाल में फंसाना, phishing. Do not respond to threatening mails such as your mail account will be closed within 24 hours, etc. Sometimes threatening mails come or threatening phones come that your website or your mail account or your account will be, or your card will be closed within 24 hours, like that. Otherwise, you click on following link, immediately you go on filling those informations, knowingly or unknowingly. Phishing is also done by creating similar looking websites. You will think that State Bank is sending that particular mail. From similar looking website or mail ID, you may receive something. Therefore, do not use similar looking websites. You should also be careful to identify the websites. Attacker can put some malicious PHP code in the website. So when that website is downloaded, that malicious code gets downloaded. From similar looking website, some important codes may come into your system. Bot is also one more type of attack. Bot, B-O-T, bot. Bot is short form of robot. Bot makes repeated requests automatically without human intervention. This causes flooding and may hang the server. What is bot attack? So bot makes repeated requests. I said earlier, in computer network, there are two things. One is client, one is server. Client sends request, server sends reply. What will happen if thousands, lakhs, crores of requests come to the server? Server will get crashed. Sometimes in AICT also it happens that this is the last date, people are applying, then website gets crashed. If a very large number of requests suddenly come to the server, then server may get crashed. And this is done intentionally also, and that is called bot attack. In bot, there is a computer also, robot. Robot means computer here, and it goes on sending requests and requests to the server, and so that server becomes unable to respond. That is called bot attack. And to avoid bot attack, CAPTCHA is used. Note that what is the principle behind CAPTCHA? Robot is not intelligent. Human being is intelligent. So this type of CAPTCHA comes, for example, C is written like this. So you can recognize this C or whatever written here in CAPTCHA box, and then you can enter. But machine is not intelligent, so computer will not be able to write that CAPTCHA code, and therefore human can pass the CAPTCHA test, but machine cannot. In this way, bot attack is avoided by using CAPTCHA. One more type of attack is social engineering. Social engineering is an act of psychological manipulation of human. It is just like phishing. It is just like phishing. That means it plays with your psychology, and only remedy is to remain alert, aware, and vigilant. You have to remain alert. Same type of phishing attack, social engineering is also there. Spoofing. A host pretends to have an IP address or phone number or email ID or website of other to gain confidence and get access to a system to steal data or spread malware, etc. Suppose somebody else is making you a phone call or sending you mail. You are coming that this is the friend, this is the phone of my friend, because you recognize the number is saved in your phone, but actually that person is somebody else. That means a host pretends to have an IP address or phone number or email or website of other to gain your confidence, and then you start talking in your own way, understanding that this same person you are talking is your known, but actually he is some unknown person. That is called spoofing. So to you should again to remain alert, aware, vigilant, and you should deploy antivirus in your system and deploy firewall in your network. Firewall. I will tell further what is firewall. One more thing is net user command. The command prompt in your laptop or desktop, you can see, you can bring command prompt by using net user command. Any administrator type of user may easily change the password of all other users. Administrator can change the passwords of other users in your laptop, computer, desktop computer, and this is the type of command. C prompt, Windows System 32 net user administrator, and means type password easily, it can be changed without quotes. This is the type of that means command. DOS command, this is called DOS command, and with the help of that DOS command, password can be changed very easily. Best way to secure our desktop is to work in guest. That means you yourself may also prefer to work in guest, and copy into administrator, allow other to work only in guest. Suppose you are allowing somebody else to work on your computer, then allow to work him or her in, to work in guest, not in administrator. Because if you are allowing him to work in administrator mode, then he can change other the password, and then you will yourself not be able to open your computer. If a person is allowed to work on your desktop with administrator type of user, then he can change the password of any account, including administrator, by making use of net user command. Always keep administrator password in system. One more thing, you should keep administrator type of password in your system. Administrator password can be changed by selecting. You can change in your laptop or computer, desktop computer, the administrator type of password by start, control escape or start, control panel, go in control panel, user accounts will come, and then administrator will come, go there and select the password. So something about password. So administrator type of password, as I said, always keep administrator password in your system. And for that, go in administrator. Administrator password can be set or changed by selecting start, control panel, user accounts, and administrator. In this way, you can change your administrator password. Similarly, there is BIOS password. To reset or reset BIOS password, press delete button while starting or booting the computer. When computer is starting, then press continuously, keep on pressing the delete button when your computer is starting, and then it will come, settings will come and it will ask you to give BIOS password. But this password will delete if you remove the CMOS battery of motherboard. If you remove the CMOS battery of your motherboard of your laptop or desktop, then this password will change. There are two types of batteries. One is big battery, power battery. That is not. A CMOS battery is different. It is installed on your motherboard. If you change that battery, then BIOS password will change. BIOS password cannot be hacked. So all passwords can be hacked, but BIOS password cannot be hacked. Making a document password protected. For example, question paper, etc. Suppose you are typing in your computer a question paper. So that question paper should not be leaked. And what will happen? Suppose somebody else is sitting on your computer, or because of any other reason also. Suppose you want to make your document safe or protected, then you can attach a password, so that before opening that particular file, computer will ask to insert a password. And for that, you should give like this: press Alt F, prepare encrypt document. This is the command in Windows 7, and in Windows 8, file info protect document, encrypt with password. This is in Windows 8. In this way, you can protect your document, is important document, by putting a password. Avoid clicking on remember password. Usually you have seen that remember password option comes. So avoid to give remember password. Don't make remember password each time you yourself press the password. Sharing of information. Never share your OTP, Aadhaar number, PAN number, etc. Some attractive or threatening phones may come saying that I am speaking from SBI, your ATM card is going to be blocked, etc. Don't give your debit card, credit card in the hands of unknown persons. That means, suppose somebody is saying you on phone that I am saying from this particular bank, and this is going to happen or that is going to happen. What is your debit card number? What is your OTP? Or one OTP has come on your mobile. Please share that. Please give that OTP. Just like something like this, your phone comes. Phone comes on your mobile. Then never give your OTP, Aadhaar, PAN number, etc. It is general practice in mall, etc., petrol pump. We give our ATM cards in the hands of others. But cloning may be done. Cloning may be done of your card. Lots of videos are available in YouTube and about card cloning. You can search in YouTube card cloning. You are giving your card in the hand of somebody else, and he may make a duplicate card. And how that is called cloning. How that cloning can be done, that you can see in YouTube. If you share your information and then lodge a complaint, then bank or police may say that fault is yours and therefore you will not get any claim. Very important thing I am telling you. Some mishappening has taken place with you. Some amount is withdrawn, whatever. Because of your mistake, you have given your OTP, you have given your number, something information, or you have forwarded something. Now you go in bank and say that this fraud has taken place with you. Bank will return you. Bank will say that fault is yours. You have given your OTP or password or whatever. Fault is yours. There is nothing like that. If you go in police also, police will also return you. Will not entertain your complaint. If you are giving your information and go to lodge a complaint of fraud, that complaint will not be entertained because fault is yours. Even forwarding a message also is considered as sharing the information. If you are forwarding a message, therefore, then also you will not get any claim. Therefore, that means that is as good as sharing a claim, sharing a information. Therefore, if somebody says on phone to forward a message, do not forward. Think before click. I have already talked. Based on my own experience, I can say to make this a buzzword. Think before click. You can paste this on your wall or somewhere because WhatsApp messages can be undeleted, but email once sent cannot be undeleted. It is a general habit that you press whatever you are thinking, you are just typing and sending. By fault, by mistake, you have sent some message in WhatsApp. Then you can undelete that message. But once you send email, that cannot be undeleted. That has gone means gone. Gone. Therefore, don't be much panic in sending mail or message. You may take a small break of few minutes. Suppose some very important mail you have typed on your computer. Then it is better to take a small break, very small break, and take a break. Go outside the room and then return back and then you press enter. Just take a fresh look on the entire mail, entire message, and then you press enter. Don't be panic, have patience. For example, I am giving one example of myself. I received a mail on 14th of October 2020 prompting me to click on a link. This is the good example of phishing or social engineering like this. This is the type of mail I received. See, because I used to fill my income tax through income tax portal. So this is the type of mail I received. E-filing income tax department, Government of India, like this. What is written? Similar looking website. Your GST tax payment 70,000 rupees to whoever has been debited successfully. Your payment acknowledgement is attached in the following. That means I am receiving mail is saying that 70,000 is withdrawn from my account for income tax, for GST, and you can get the receipt of 70,000 rupees by clicking on following link. Similar looking link. And I am giving so much cyber security related lectures, etc. Even I was also prompted to press on this link. This is called social engineering. Psychologically, they make us in such a pressurized way. They pressurize us that we are almost forced. But ultimately, I did not press on this link and I was saved. So, and then what I did, that I took a screenshot shot and then I attached in this my lecture also, in order to caution the other peoples. So this type of screen or mail may come. Now let us see Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. What are the security policies in WhatsApp, Facebook, online payment, etc. So WhatsApp. So let us talk certain thing about WhatsApp. WhatsApp was founded by John Combe and Brian Acton in the year 2009 with headquarters at California, USA. Both were ex-employees of Yahoo and were jobless for some time. Both applied for jobs in Facebook. Both were rejected. These are the two persons who founded WhatsApp in the year 2009. Both were the employees of Yahoo. They were removed from the service and they were jobless. Then they gave interview in YouTube, not in YouTube, Facebook, and they were rejected in the interview. And then they started their firm, and then they started WhatsApp. And this is very funny to note that the Facebook who has rejected those persons, Facebook bought or acquired WhatsApp in the year 2014 in $20 billion. That means Facebook might also be thinking what wrong decision they have taken by rejecting those people. They rejected those people and they formed a company, they launched WhatsApp, and then Facebook purchased that WhatsApp in $20 billion. Therefore, Agnina Hifton has said, failure is a stepping stone to success. Failure, if they would have appointed in Facebook, then they might have not started WhatsApp. There are only 50 employees who manage WhatsApp. WhatsApp makes use of VoIP protocol, voice over internet protocol. If you go in foreign countries, then charges of phone calls are very, very high. But I had gone in Japan, and from there I was calling in my house in WhatsApp call, and this was free of cost. I was talking freely for many time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, free of cost, because I had taken Wi-Fi from my hotel, and then through Wi-Fi I was taking internet, and then on WhatsApp calling I was making use of phone. But once I had gone earlier to Nepal, and from Nepal, when I called in my house with my Airtel number, then it was very huge amount for very small time. It was surprisingly very huge amount was deducted from Nepal. But from Japan, with the help of WhatsApp call, no charge was detected because WhatsApp uses VoIP protocol. There is no advertisement in WhatsApp, no charge from user. And because you know that in WhatsApp, you are paying nothing to WhatsApp. Then how WhatsApp is managing, how WhatsApp is surviving and earning money, that is still a mystery. WhatsApp is not letting the people know how they are earning profit. WhatsApp does not reveal much the financial details. WhatsApp generates around $5 billion per year, but they are not telling how they are gaining profit. What is their how they, because WhatsApp is not giving advertisement also, not taking fees, any type of fees from users also. Then how it is surviving, that is still a mystery for all. There are 196 countries in the world and 180 countries use WhatsApp. There are 1.5 Arab users in the world, out of which 100 crore users are active each day. In India, there are 20 crore users, which is largest in the world, and each day around 7,000 crore, and in each minute 3 crore messages are sent. That means that means in India also you can see that India is the biggest user of WhatsApp. After Indian pressure, WhatsApp has introduced a feature that same message cannot be forwarded to more than 5 persons. You can see nowadays that same message cannot be forwarded to more than 5 persons, and this was because of Indian pressure on WhatsApp, and then entire world accepted this. This is accepted worldwide. Similarly, nowadays India is saying to display the name of original sender, for which some sort of digital signature, etc., may be needed. India is now pressing WhatsApp to introduce a feature to display the name of original sender of a message. And WhatsApp is thinking on that. That is good suggestion from India to WhatsApp. So full encryption is used in WhatsApp, and that is entire message is encrypted, and therefore WhatsApp is used in terrorism and illegal activities also. Even WhatsApp cannot read your message. You are sending one message to your friend, even WhatsApp cannot read. There is full end-to-end encryption. No, and that is very strong encryption. I will talk something more about encryption. That is not readable to anybody. That cannot be decoded. So this is the type of encryption I will tell you further. But before that, what you are giving, what permission you are giving. When you install WhatsApp on your phone, then you are you are giving permission to WhatsApp like this. You agree to our data practices, including the collection, use, processing, and sharing of your information as described in our private policies, as well as transfer and processing of your information. Meaning is that WhatsApp takes the right from you while installing, that WhatsApp can make use of your information. You are sending some information to your friend. WhatsApp can reproduce, modify that information for the use of WhatsApp own, and then can make, do whatever it wants. And you are giving WhatsApp this permission also when you are installing. Otherwise, WhatsApp will not be installed except table user of services like this license. WhatsApp does not claim ownership, although WhatsApp will not claim that this is the information generated by WhatsApp. You will be owner of you will remain your owner of message, but WhatsApp does not claim ownership of the information that you submit for your WhatsApp account or through your service. But WhatsApp can reproduce that. Like this, you are giving permission in order to operate possible hour, etc. I have underlined this. Anyway, meaning is same what I am saying, that WhatsApp is taking the authority to make use of those information. In Facebook also, this is the figure of Facebook. I have taken a screenshot. Facebook also, similarly, you means you people, when you are installing Facebook, you grant a non-exclusive transferable sub-license, royalty free. You will not charge also worldwide. That means Facebook is also becoming authorized to make use of your information which you are sending or posting to for other people. Your own You own and can detect, delete your information. You own the information you share on. Facebook will also not claim the ownership of that information. You will continue to remain that owner of your post or information. But Facebook or WhatsApp are now authorized to make use of that information for their uses also. So in this way, suppose you want to see the type of encryption. I talked that WhatsApp imposes a very strong type of encryption, and that is why terrorists are also unfortunately making use of WhatsApp messages, and nobody is able to decode that message. Only sender and receiver can come to know. Even if military is able to catch that information, military will not be able to read that information. So this type of screen you can see. Suppose you want to see the type of how you can see the type of encryption. Then open Facebook or WhatsApp in Internet Explorer. In Internet Explorer browser, you open Facebook or WhatsApp and then right click and select properties. Then in connection, you will see the type of encryption like this. Facebook, and here you will see the type of encryption. This is written AES with 128-bit encryption. Very strong encryption is there in Facebook, and in WhatsApp also. I will show in WhatsApp also like this. Yeah, in Internet Explorer, whatsapp.com is opened like this, and this is AES 128-bit encryption, which is very strong encryption. Now coming on after Facebook, WhatsApp, something about Aadhaar. Aadhaar is the world's largest biometric ID system, and Aadhaar is 12-digit number. This is the largest biometric system database of world. Aadhaar is a 12-digit number provided to each Indian citizen. Concept of Aadhaar was started way back in the year 2000 during Kargil War. When after Kargil War, a Kargil Review Committee was formed, and that Kargil Review Committee gave a proposal to the then Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji to give some ID card to the villagers of border areas, particularly the people who are residing in the border areas. They should be given some identity card. This was the recommendation of Kargil Review Committee at that time, and therefore from there the concept of Aadhaar came up. On 23rd June 2009, the co-founder of Infosys was made project head for Aadhaar in April 2010, and Nandan Nilekani launched Aadhaar. In this way, Aadhaar was launched gradually in the year 2010. For further study of Aadhaar card, there is very good paper of this IIT Delhi, and you can read this anyway. Whether Aadhaar is fully secure or not, this is a generally asked question. Whether Aadhaar is fully secure or not. Indian government claims that Aadhaar is fully secure. Government of India claims that Aadhaar is fully secure. But in an answer to RTI, Government of India itself has said that there is one American company, name of which is L1 Identity Solutions, operating company private limited, is in contract with UIDAI, and according to that contract, this company can access data for 7 years. Aadhaar database is accessible to an American company. That is told by government in an RTI answer. And database of Aadhaar is around 3 to 4,000 petabyte. I told This is the largest biometric database, and size of it is 3 to 4,000 petabyte. To handle such a large data, parallel computing is needed. Now coming on recent mobile security awareness. So sometimes unknown, I told earlier also, cookie, etc., unknown pop-ups. Sometimes unknown pop-ups come in our mobile phones. These may be malicious Java codes. Pop-ups may be, I told earlier also, this may be malicious code, Java code. Malicious code is innocent looking code which is not detected even by antivirus software. It may be a Java applet, and polymorphism feature is generally applied or used to confuse the antivirus software also. Even your antivirus software also gets confused because of the property of polymorphism. Polymorphism means different name, different for the same thing, uh, different types of appearances. These malicious code may hack the data of mobile phone, such as photos, etc. Any type of coding or data or information or photo, etc., can be taken out from your mobile, because your mobile is also connected with internet. Even then, even they can receive OTP also. Even they can receive OTP also. OTP which is supposed to come on your phone, that OTP may be shared, or that OTP may become known to the some other person also, because of these malicious code, malicious Java code or pop-ups. Therefore, I recommend you to this make unknown sources like this. Uh, keep unknown sources in your off mode. This will not allow any application, including virus also, to be installed automatically. That means you don't give permission to install any software without your permission. Then virus will also not be able to install. For each and every application, whenever it is to be installed, it cannot install without your permission. Such type of settings you should make. And therefore, unknown sources come through setting security unknown sources. Make this off. This can be turned off by in setting like this. Setting security unknown sources off. Don't give your mobile phone, just like I told earlier, don't give your ATM cards in the hands of others. Don't give your mobiles also in the hands of others. He may install some malicious code in your mobiles. Don't give mobiles to, better to say, unknown persons, because he may install some malicious code in your mobile within no time, and then your important informations can be shared, can be compromised. Synchronize the contacts with your Google Gmail account. Always synchronize your phone contacts with Gmail account by setting account Google open. For that, open Gmail account, and you can see and take a print of contact phone numbers. I have done this. Therefore, when my phone was that means had gone out of order, when I had gone to Thailand with the wave of sea, my phone got wet and became out of order. And but no contact was lost, because entire contact was synchronized with Gmail, and entire phone numbers are saved in my Gmail account also. And I have taken a printout also of that. So you can take a print of your phone contacts and may keep it in your file, etc. So anyway, synchronize your phone contacts with Gmail account. For maintaining the passwords, there may be a large number of passwords for your purpose only. You might be handling a large number of passwords. So for maintaining, how we are maintaining those passwords? For maintaining the passwords, you can create a folder under the name of password in your email account. You may create a folder in your email account by add show more folder option, but still you are not advisable to keep very important passwords like ATM pin, etc. What I am trying to say, that in your email account also only you can create a folder, maybe under the name of password, and then go on storing all the passwords in that folder. And in this way you will not be you will not come face any difficulty. Suppose for Facebook, for WhatsApp, for Amazon, for Flipkart, for various other things you are applying here and there, for various government posts, etc., you are being allotted some password, etc. How to handle such a large number of passwords? That is still a problem. So create a folder in your mail account only and keep all the passwords there, but still don't put your ATM pins, etc. Financial type of or very important type of passwords you don't put in that also, because sometimes suppose your phone is lost, so that email account can be opened in your phone by some other person, and if you have kept remember password, then it is very easy to see the passwords, etc. Open your email account and go into that folder and find out all the passwords. Therefore it is not advisable to keep the passwords of financial transactions in your email account. Theoretically it is said that passwords should not be written anywhere, even in your house also. So what I mean to say, that you store the not very important passwords, you can store in your folder, in your mail, in your mail after creating a folder in your mail account. But if there is very uh, sensitive type of password, then you keep in your house. Lithium ion battery is used in mobile phones, and therefore heat is most dangerous enemy of these batteries. The battery which is used in your mobile phones, that is called lithium ion battery, and this is very sensitive to heat, and therefore don't use the phone while charging. When your phone is charging, then don't make a call. Don't let the phone in charging overnight. It is general practice you leave the phone in charging for overnight. This is also not a good practice. Make use of correct charger for charging. Correct charger. Voltage and current ratings are written on charger. You can see charger. Take the charger in your hand and try to read what ratings are written. Voltage and current ratings. Suppose in your house only there are 3-4 chargers, then you can see voltage and current ratings are not same on all those chargers. You take one charger in your hand, try to read voltage current rating. Then take some other charger, voltage current rating will be slightly different. So I mean to say that charge your phone with correct charger only. Don't use mobile phone on petrol pumps. Various videos you might have seen that somebody has gone to the petrol pump and he has started talking on his mobile phone, and the blast is taking place. Various videos I have seen, you might have also seen. So in any condition, whosoever is calling you, whosoever, how much important he is, irrespective of that, don't attend any phone or not make, or don't make any call also when you are going into the petrol pump. Time to time wash your mobile cover also by cotton. Mobile cover is also a big source of infection as it contains various harmful bacteria. Most important bacteria is E. coli, which causes intestine-related problems. Mobile cover also you should regularly clean with cotton. If your mobile phone is stolen, then call on 14422. C. Dot maintains a database named CEIR. Your phone is lost, then you make a complaint on 14422, and there is a C. Dot database maintained by C. Dot. Name of that database is CEIR, Central Equipment Identity Register. CEIR maintains name, SIM number. Mobile number is different. Mobile number is different, and SIM number is a 20-digit number printed on SIM card. Your mobile number is different. My mobile number is 982717100. IMI number is different. SIM number is again different. SIM number, mobile number is different. SIM number is a 20-digit number printed on SIM card. IMEI, International Mobile Equipment Identity, is a 15-digit number. That is also different. Model number is again different. Then that IMEI will be blocked. Suppose you make a complaint here, your phone is lost or is stolen. Then you make a call here on 4422, and there is a directory or database as per your IMEI number. Your IMEI number, that means your phone will be blocked, and therefore thief will not be able to use your handset. Your handset will not be usable at all by anybody, and even he changes SIM card or network or whatever, he will not be able to make use of your mobile handset. There is one incognito mode. You can turn browsing history off by pressing three dots on top corner. I told earlier about three dots on from top right corner. In your mobile phone, there are three dots in top right corner in your this browser, and then select setting privacy, clear browsing data. That make browsing history of. Suppose some unknown person is picking up your phone, then he will not be able to see the browsing history. In incognito mode, you need not make browsing history of. But if you are working in incognito mode, then time to time you are not required to make browsing history off. It will automatically remain off for all time. Incognito mode. Incognito mode turns browsing history and web cache off. In mobile or desktop, both select Google Chrome browser first, then press three dots on top right corner. In Google Chrome browser, you press three dots and then you can go in incognito mode. Incognito mode is also called private browsing. This is also called private browsing. Suppose somewhere you are asked in KBC or anywhere in any type of interview, etc., what is private browsing? So it is same as incognito mode. When working in cyber cafe, you must work in incognito mode. I told earlier, don't make money transactions in cyber cafe. And if you are working in cyber cafe, make incognito, work in incognito mode only, so that after you're going from their cyber cafe people may sit on your computer. He can go in browsing history. He may see what you are seeing. So make private this browsing history off or work in incognito mode. So this is all about incognito mode. YouTube for kids also come. This is good thing. So I thought to share. You may install YouTube for kids, and different parental controls are available in this. And you can log in as parent. There is option to log in as parent or kid. And by logging in as parent, you may grant different permissions to different kids. To your different kids, you can grant different types of permissions. For example, you may set time limit, allow or disallow certain channels depending upon the age of kid, etc. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Keep your Wi-Fi off and put password in it. Always keep your Wi-Fi off and put password. Don't use unknown free Wi-Fi WLAN. Sometimes people think that they are very clever and intelligent. They could access the Wi-Fi of some other people, and then they get a type of happiness or satisfaction, a feeling of cleverness, that because the knowledge of other, he was able to access his Wi-Fi or wireless LAN. So don't use unknown free Wi-Fi. There may be a trap also. You are using that free Wi-Fi, and unknowingly you are passing some important information, maybe OTP, maybe PIN, etc. Because you are working on internet provided by that free Wi-Fi, unknown free Wi-Fi, and then that may be stored somewhere or may be taken away by somebody else. Don't make money transaction through public Wi-Fi like railway station, airport, etc. It is not advisable that you are making use of Wi-Fi or public internet and then making use of your money transactions. A new type of attack called blue-born attack has also come up, in which anybody who is within the range of your Bluetooth can gain control over your device. Suppose your Bluetooth is not off, somebody else is within your area, within the range of your Bluetooth, and then he may gain control of your mobile. And that attack is called blue-born attack. Since it enters through Bluetooth and it is airborne in nature, it spreads over air, it is called blue-born. So keep Bluetooth always off. Your Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth should be off, because through Bluetooth somebody else may attack your mobile and may become the that means main user of mobile also. He may become the authorized and main user of your mobile and may take entire control of your mobile. So keep Bluetooth always off. Google Play Store. Download any application through Google Play Store only. Applications can be downloaded from other sources also apart from Google Play Store. But what happens that because the applications have to get registered in Google first, and Google will firstly check it. Google first satisfied itself there whether that application is proper in all respect or not, and then only Google lets anybody to download or install that particular application. Therefore, it is time tested by Google, and therefore you download the application through Google Play Store only and not from other sources. I remember I had gone in election training 2-3 years back, and there is a app created for presiding officers, etc., which was given by Chhattisgarh government, and that app is created by CHIPS. And I tell you that app was not downloadable from Google Play Store, and a lot of problems we faced while working in that app. Time to time we had to update that, give the reporting of the voters, how many voters came, how many males came, females came, like that. So there was a lot of difficulty we used to face while updating those data, because that app was not downloadable from Google Play Store. That was downloadable from CHIPS website, and that was almost a failure type of app. So Google Play Store will only install or will only that means incorporate those apps which are fully secure and proper in all respects. Then only Google Play Store will publish that application. Therefore, applications registered with Google Play Store are more secured and safe. Security awareness of online payment. While making payment using mobile or PC, the payment gateway should be HTTPS or lock symbol should be there. HTTPS is very important. Whenever you are making payment, you see there should be HTTPS, secured, socket layer, HTTPS, and lock symbol should come like this. See here, there is a lock symbol and HTTPS is written, then it is correct. Use virtual keyboard, I told earlier also. Use virtual keyboard. This type of keyboard comes in online state banking. Whenever you open this online SBI.com, this virtual keyboard comes, but people generally do not make use of this. And in order to avoid key logging, which I told earlier, you should make use of virtual keyboard, because the keys placed on virtual keyboard cannot be recorded by keylogger. Like this. This option comes. User use virtual keyboard to enter password. In ATM cards, 16 digit of card, on card there is a 16-bit number, 16 digit number. There are 4 numbers on your pin. That means total there are 20 numbers, 20 digits. These 20 digits are encrypted and then are sent. That is why your ATM pin is very important. Not only those 4 digits of pins, but entire 16 digits of ATM card. That means total 20 digits are encrypted together. So very strong DES encryption, triple DES encryption is used in ATMs. A line of caution. This I have taken from State Bank site. Disclaimer: State Bank never sends email and embedded links asking you to update or verify confidential personal security details. If you receive such emails, phone calls, SMS, never respond to them and report such matter to the bank or at report, etc. SBI. This mail was received from SBI only, that I have written here as it is. And I told you earlier, if you share your password, OTP, PIN, and then go into police or bank, that fraud has taken place with you. Bank or police will say mistake is yours and there is no claim for you. Therefore, don't share. See what that means. Remain vigilant, alert, and don't share your any important information. Bank is not asking through any medium to give your personal details like this. That is written. State Bank never sends email embedded links asking you to update or verify confidential personal information security details. Digital payment. E-wallet or M-wallet is just like an ordinary purse. The purse which we use in we keep in our pockets. E-wallet or M-wallet is just like that, in which you can deposit some money and spend it gradually, slowly. Example is Paytm, PayPal, PhonePe, etc. So these are wallets, and wallets are safer than debit credit cards. These wallets, I personally think that these wallets are more safe than your cards, as your bank account is not directly exposed to the third party and therefore is completely safe. That means if you are making transaction through your ATM card, then your CVV number, bank account, etc. are getting directly exposed. But in case of this wallet, you are taking out the money from your wallet, so your bank account is not coming into picture. Moreover, wallets are simple. These wallets are very simple and fast, and because no need of giving card number, date of expiry, CVV number, etc., or complications are also not there. Therefore, put some amount in your wallet, maybe PayPal or PhonePe, whatever, and then spend those amount. That is very safe and very easy. Don't give your credit card in the hands of unknown persons, because it may be easily cloned. That I have told you earlier also. Coming on firewall, I told you that I will tell you about firewall. Firewall is just like a gatekeeper or chokidar or border security force. Firewall is just like a gatekeeper. Firewall is a device that is a combination of software and hardware to monitor traffic, which is incoming or outgoing both. That means, suppose a firewall is installed in your organization, in your college, office, university, whatever. Whatever you are sending outside, whatever coming from outside to inside, all is going through this firewall, and firewall is watching. Firewall is installed near router. So in Ravi Shankar University, also firewall is installed. That is Sophos firewall. I think around 20 lakh. It is costing around. It has costed around 20 lakh rupees. So there are various settings in firewall like this: file transfer, gaming, general internet. Groups can be created. Support teacher, student, admin, faculty, and some more group. Here 3 groups are shown. And file transfer permission is given to group 1, group 2, group 3 also. That means it is up to us how to set, how to give permission, not give permission, to whom to give permission. All the things are there, are possibilities are there. This is how, these are the settings. For example, proxy and tunnel, block. These are the things. VoIP means WhatsApp. Whether WhatsApp is permitted, if you are making use of internet or Wi-Fi facility of university internet, if you are working on your personal mobile data, then there is no restriction. If you are making use of internet of university and you want to chat on WhatsApp VoIP, then permission may be given or may not be given, like this. Or permission may be given to a particular group, maybe to teacher, not to student, like that. All these settings can be done. These are the things: web mail, social networking, again Facebook. These are the things. Various settings are there on which we can cookies, criminal activity, entertainment, etc. Games, whether to allow games or not. If allowed, to whom to allow. Business dealing, share market, etc. Because some people may use internet for share markets, etc. Various things are there. Various settings are there. So this is how you can see, you can make settings in firewall like this. Sports, travel, these are the things. So this is how firewall should be installed. Institutional email IDs should be provided. The licensed software should be purchased. These are important for organizations. So one can lodge online complaint against cybercrime in National Cybercrime Reporting Portal at https://cybercrime.gov.in. If some crime is committed, then you can lodge complaint on this website, https secured cybercrime.gov in. This is a Government of India initiative. Some useful CDAC courses are, just I want to share, PG Diploma in Software Development, System Development, Software Development, PG Diploma in Advanced Secure Software Development. These are 22 weeks full-time courses of CDAC. So in this way, I have tried to cover the various aspects. The conclusion is more stringent norms are to be formed for punishment at government level. IT Act was firstly enacted in the year 2000. Later, it was modified in 2008. IT Act in India was enacted in the year 2000. It was modified in 2008. And Facebook, WhatsApp particularly came after 2008. Therefore, now social media has come up. Therefore, IT Act needs again to be modified in India. Each and every internet user needs to be more vigilant, aware, and up to date. As I told in beginning, that it is information highway, and we should follow the rules, protocols, etc. So this is all. Thank you very much for patient hearing.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I want to request participants, if any query or any question is there, they can ask from themselves also. Or yes, anyone want to ask any question from sir? So can ask from directly from yourself. Yes, any student? Okay. I think, sir, you have elaborate lots, na? So I think we are very much thankful to you, sir, कि you have explained from A to Z, sir. I think after hearing this your presentation, anyone can get a more and more understanding of the cyber security, sir. So I will thanks to all participants, and also thanks to our speaker, Dr. Sanjay Kumar sir. Or sir, please, sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes,
sir. I think, sir, there are lots of questions also there, but
Okay.
But later on, maybe possible, I will give you the all questions, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
no problem, sir. And
Sure.
thanks very much to give the very valuable time to us and explain this all to our student and the participants, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Now
you.
may,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. You may leave now, and all participants are requested to please leave now.
Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.